Welcome to Ace My Exams Learning. Let us get started with today's learning.
What is communication? Communication is a two-way process involving the exchange of information, ideas, feelings, or opinions between individuals or groups. The information or message is sent from one person, referred to as the sender, through a channel to another person called the receiver. The receiver reacts to the message by providing feedback. In summary, 1. Communication is a two-way process. 2. It involves the exchange of information. 3. It takes place between two or more participants. 4. The originator of the information or message is the sender. 5. The message is sent to the receiver, who reacts to the message by sending feedback. 6. A channel is used to transfer messages between the sender and receiver. Communication process. The communication process is the step-by-step sequence of events that takes place when one person, the sender, sends a message to convey information to another person, the receiver. When two people communicate, there is a continuous flow of information. Messages move back and forth between the two people. As one person speaks, the other listens. The listener then responds by providing feedback in the form of a message while the speaker listens. The listener then becomes the speaker, and the process repeats. Let's look at this illustration of the communication process and its elements. The communication process begins with a sender or source, who initiates communication by generating an idea or message to be conveyed to others. The sender then encodes or translates the idea into a message. This involves selecting words, symbols, or other forms of communication to express the intended meaning effectively. The encoded message is the actual content that the sender wishes to communicate. It could be verbal, written, non-verbal, or a combination of these forms. The message is then transmitted through a chosen communication channel, such as face-to-face conversation, written documents, electronic media, or any other medium. The message reaches the receiver or audience, who interprets and decodes the information to understand its meaning. The receiver decodes the message by interpreting the symbols, words, or gestures used by the sender. Effective communication relies on the shared understanding of these symbols. After decoding the message, the receiver provides feedback to the sender. This feedback can be verbal or non-verbal and indicates how well the message was understood. Feedback also allows the sender to make adjustments if necessary. During this process, there may be interference called noise or external factors that distort or disrupt the message, thus hindering the effective transfer of information between a sender and a receiver. Elements of the communication process. 1. The sender. The beginning of the communication process involves the sender, who formulates the message he or she plans to send to another person or group of people. This can be an idea, information, or expression of feelings, emotions, or thoughts the sender wants to relay to the receiver. Thereafter, the sender formulates thoughts into a message using a code or language the receiver can understand. This is referred to as encoding. By doing so, the sender can convert their thoughts, ideas, or emotions into a format that can be transmitted and recognized by the receiver. For example, using spoken communication, the sender will choose words, tone, and language to use. For written communication, the sender will structure the message into sentences and paragraphs. 2. The message. The message is the information the sender wants to communicate, using spoken or written words, images, gestures, or other forms of expression. The sender's aim here is to craft a message that can effectively convey meaning. It's important for the sender to define the purpose of the message, construct each message with the receiver in mind, select the best medium, time each transmission thoughtfully, and seek feedback. 3. The channel. The sender chooses the preferred way to transmit the message to the receiver. The choice of channel depends on the context and the desired impact of the message. This could be verbal channels such as voice, intercom, telephone, interview, meeting, fax, or non-verbal channels like body language, pictures, music, or graphs. 4. The receiver. The receiver is the person to whom the message is directed or the intended recipient of the message. The sender needs to send a message. A receiver can decode or interpret its words, images, or signals to enable effective communication to take place. 5. Decoding. Next is decoding, which is the interpretation of the message by the receiver. It involves translating the encoded information from the sender, that is the language, pictures, and signs, back into meaningful thoughts, ideas, or emotions to enable the receiver to understand the message. 6. Feedback. After decoding the message and understanding the content, the receiver reverts to the sender by way of feedback. Feedback is the response or reaction given by the receiver to the sender's message. It indicates whether the message was understood as intended and whether the communication was successful. Feedback can be verbal or nonverbal, such as nods, smiles, questions, or comments. The receiver's interpretation, understanding, and response to the message allows the sender to gauge the effectiveness of their communication and make adjustments if necessary. 7. Noise. Noise, also known as communication barrier or interference, can impede successful communication. It includes anything that hinders the communication flow or causes a breakdown, preventing the intended message from reaching the receiver. Examples of noise. 1. Physical noise. This includes external factors such as loud sounds, music, or other environmental disturbances that make it difficult for the parties involved to hear or focus on the message. For instance, a construction site near a meeting room might introduce physical noise. 2. Semantic noise. Semantic noise arises when there are misunderstandings due to differences in language, interpretation, or meaning of words. For example, using technical jargon in a conversation with someone unfamiliar with the terminology can lead to semantic noise. 3. Psychological noise. Psychological noise occurs within the minds of the communicators and can be caused by factors such as stress, preoccupation, or strong emotions. For example, if someone is stressed about a personal issue, they may find it challenging to fully grasp or respond to a message.
Thank you for watching this video. Remember to subscribe and be the first to know when we upload new videos.